So actually, I want to revert back to Jordan. You were talking about Jameis Winston. I want to talk about this Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota thing we got going on. We got two excellent quarterbacks that went out in the draft. Actually, Dave brought up a seriously crazy stat that I didn't even know about. He brought it up earlier and said there were only 7 quarterbacks that went through this draft. And that's what you said, Dave, the least in the entire history of the NFL draft?
I believe so. That's courtesy of ESPN Stats and Info on Twitter. So I can't take credit for that, but we can check out their Twitter account to...
Well, speaking of ESPN Stats and Info, also of the previous 20 quarterbacks taken first overall, 6 won a Super Bowl, 12 made it to multiple Pro Bowls. Do you guys think that's in the future for Jameis Winston or Marcus Mariota? Who do you guys like out of the two?
Tennessee goes to Tampa Bay week 1, Cleveland week 2, Indianapolis at home week 3. How soon do you think Mariota is starting? Does he start week 1? Because they got
I think they already said he's going to start week 1.
He's starting week 1?
Yeah, I think Wisenhunt already said that. I thought I read that Wisenhunt came out after the draft and said he's going to start week 1. I can double check on that, but I'm pretty sure he's already stated that publicly.
Because I was just thinking it might make more sense because they've got 3 home games after the bye to start him week 5. So skip the 2 road games, skip the Colts at home, start week 5. But I actually think...
Well, the reason I bring up that stat, Dave, is because we've got both these teams sitting at the exact same line. If I read that correctly, I think they're both at 5.5 or 6. Do you guys see it right there? Anyways,
yeah.
The Titans, I was telling Jordan this too, the Titans went off the board completely for a while, so I feel like the odds makers might be thinking that Marcus Mariota is going to perform a little bit better than Jameis Winston in this season. What do you guys think? Will both of these teams go under the total, over the total? What do you guys think about this one?
It's tough. It's kind of in that range where it makes it difficult. It's not 4.5. It's not Oakland range, right? So you gotta 6 wins is I think a lot for the Titans in the first year. I think of the 2, Tampa Bay might be more likely to go over. Easy division. I think Winston may be a little bit more pro-ready, and he also steps into a pretty good situation. Let's face it. He's not going to the Browns. He's not going to some of these other lackluster teams, even Jacksonville. The Bucs have Vincent Jackson. They have Safarian Jenkins, Mike Evans, and a decent running game. I mean, if Winston is at all anything worth his salt as a number 1 pick overall, 6 wins is not crazy for the Bucs.
I think Winston will have the earlier success. I think he's a little bit more pro-ready. I think he's got definitely the better arm. And he goes into a situation where he's got 2 really, really, really good receivers and a pretty solid running game as well. So all the pieces are there for Winston to have success here early in the season. But long term, I think Mariota is actually going to turn into a pretty good quarterback. I don't know how long it's going to take. It may take a year, 2, 3 years before he's actually, putting up big numbers. But, I think we talked a little bit about this in our schedule release preview. But Mariota has the tools to kind of be what we all thought Colin Kaepernick was going to be. So I think that he has the ability to get there. The problem is he doesn't have really any offense right now in Tennessee, and that's going to be his biggest downfall here earlier in the year. So I guess when we go to season win totals, I guess you're right. I'll go with Dave that probably the Bucs are going to go over. 6 for me is a little high. I don't think I would touch it, but I guess I can't really talk you out of it. The Titans, though, I'd definitely probably go under at this point, just because even though they're in the easier of the divisions, I think they'll probably struggle just because they don't really have an offense to surround Mariota with yet.